This is ACOFAE.
Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present a collection of fandoms and exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content, and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from Iron Widow and Heavenly Tyrant, with mentions of Heavenbreaker and Power Rangers. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to ACOFAE, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing Heavenly Tyrant by Xiran Jay Zhao.
And this is book 2 of the Iron Widow series. And if you've been following us, we've covered book 1 already. So we were really excited to get into Heavenly Tyrant and even furthering wondering what is next after this. We know that Xiran has had some issues, not her fault, in the series in general. Like, she's had pushback. She's had publishers tell her nobody would want to read these. There has been political commentary on her writing. I'm pretty sure, if not already, they've tried to ban her books. She's been taken off of awards lists. Like, the thing is, she has the receipts to show that people are scared that this author has a voice, to the point that, and their authors note, and this is both noted in the audio version, which we both have, and the physical copy, we're used to seeing trigger warnings or, trigger warnings, content warnings. But in addition to all of that, there is a paragraph that I wanted to share that says, the fictionalized characters in this novel make many morally questionable choices in the conditions unique to their world. Depictions do not equate to endorsement in real life, and parallels to reality should not be drawn without considering the impacts of the existence of fantasy plot devices, such as chrysalises. Which already, Laura, you and I spoke about this before we started recording. It reminds me of medical shows or law shows where they have to have the disclaimer, this isn't real. It's just kind of interesting and a coincidence if you find some of these similarities based on real life events.
I love this book. I love this series so much. It's so good. I love this book. So many reasons why. Jess, you mentioned something, but I would like you to explain it. What's a chrysalis?
A chrysalis is, I don't want to say an animal form, but it is kind of like a robotic form of sorts that a person can, I don't want to say infiltrate. It's kind of like a mech suit, but giant. I think that's the best way. And actually reading this, I didn't get a chance to reread. It reminded me of the giant ass mech suits in Heavenbreaker, because we read Heavenbreaker after this. But I forget how there's giant robots that you get to be in, and you have a certain level, and in order to operate it, you have to have a certain level of spirit power. And if it's over 500, it's unheard of to be over 500. And if you are, women typically have more than the men. And in this world, men don't want women to know that. So they kind of say like, we need to siphon your power. So they're the quote unquote predominant ones that do operate these chrysali. But then you find out that based on the endings of the first book and during the first book, when women have the power, they don't need a man to do it. And how do you double up on that power? Do you use another man? Can you double up with another woman? It's interesting to see the experimenting that is going on how to maximize the extent of what they can push and what they're capable of, these chrysalis.
I always, this is me. I always think of them as the Power Rangers.
That's what I was like. You had a really good analogy last time where it was like the Megatron, not Megatron. Now I'm thinking of
they all like combine,
Transformers,
right?
yeah.
Like, and then like it's so
they
good.
all operate their own,
yes,
and then they get like their dinosaur mega robots
can,
together
like,
to make bigger
morph
ones.
and, like,
they
and
morph.
like,
It's morphin' time, guys.
It's morphin' time. Like I just love that. I love that so much. I have to say, you cannot just pick up this book and be like,
No.
oh, what is this? You have to read the first book, because this book starts off right where the second book ends. Like, we are in Qin Zheng's perspective, and he's like, holy shit, what is going on? I was asleep and now I'm awake, and this woman is yelling at me.
And shameless self-promotion, I did not reread Iron Widow before reading Heavenly Tyrant. I think it would have been in anybody's best interest if you're starting Heavenly Tyrant. But I did listen to our episode to be like, what the hell happened? And even that episode, like, yeah, we talk about big plot points and sure, we spoil it, but it was a good refresher to be like, what is happening? And so when I listened to that our Iron Widow episode, then I was like, okay, then I was able to get back into Heavenly Tyrant and go, oh, we literally picked up right where we left off.
And it's so good because there are like, I guess maybe three main plots happening to all of these different characters. Iju is on his own little journey that we don't really know what is going on with him until the very end with all of his reveals. It's fantastic. But we have Qin Zheng and Zetian, and so Emperor resurrected and our newly designated Empress. And their handling of the revolution that they spearheaded. They destroyed the government. They destroyed everything that was in charge of governing the territory and had absolutely no plan what to do after that. So they together are trying to consolidate power and to fix everything. And that is one plot. The other plot is they are also secretly trying to zoom their way up to the heavenly court to attack and kill the gods in a presumed suicide mission. And then the third plot is, again, like the Wind Winds, man. They are sentient creatures, and the guilt that I also think that, like, the guilt of knowing about them is also like is like haunting the narrative a little bit, kind of just like hanging over everybody, because Zetian finds herself like parroting all of the same bullshit that she was given to the new recruits, and she's like, oh my god, I'm doing it too, oh my god, but like I see why we do it now. My god, I'm the problem. Like, that was great. Or
even like living in an idealistic world where she and Iju were talking about, he goes, yeah, everything's so great and everybody has access to all of these things. However, that novelty is going to wear off real quick. And they're trying to reestablish this society that she burned to the ground. Again, we were talking about like from book one, she had rage, she had a plan, but the plan was led with vengeance. And you had said, there is no plan going on here. It's really figuring it out as they go. And Qin Zheng, he's like, I'm back. I've been gone. What do you mean? You went further back. You didn't progress. What is happening? You didn't fix this? What is happening? So of course he's like, I got to do everything myself. Let me step into a power. Let me start making decisions right away and invoke them immediately. And Zetian is very much like, well, not like that. There should be some exceptions to the rule. And it's interesting to see her because she clashes with him, but then also agrees with it. It's the back and forth of it. And then it's very much this is not as easy as I thought.
Well, this is not as easy as I thought. I love that. So I love that they are doing this every day by the seat of their pants. That Iju is plotting and plotting and plotting. Neither of them know what he is on about until like the very end of the book. And they are like victims of his plots, but his plots are to keep Zetian safe. But oh my goodness, I usually am uninterested in the rebuilding of society, but the rebuilding of society that they are doing turns out to be bad. And every decision, you're like, oh, I could see where that would be. Oh,
yeah.
That's bad, though. That's bad, though. You can't do that. You cannot encourage neighbors to turn each other in for rewards, buddy. That's just not how a good society works. Like, you can't do that. He's like, yeah, but do that. But the schools are free and the hospitals are free. And like, everything is being shared. It's like, yeah, man, but it's like a military state. Dude, everybody's like scared.
Yes, because sometimes I even found myself, I was like, ooh, good. And I was like, ooh.
Ooh.
And you find it, and I feel like, again, authors know it's like she felt obligated to, where it's like, this is not, do not use this as a manual. If there are similarities, it's the way the author writes. It forces you to think and it gives you a level of empathy to understand both sides. I mean, it's part of the reason people love to read, but you could have, to understand. And we always talk about this and just like media literacy in general, we know where that conversation is going. But to have the conversations, I mean, how many studies have there been to be like, understand where people are with their feelings, to be more empathetic, to understand another party. It might be not what you agree with, but you can see where somebody is coming from. So when you're in some of these states, again, when they're presenting, oh, no, we're actually, what was another one? When they're talking about, equal opportunity for everyone, women can also navigate the chrysalis if you're 500 and over. And also, equal opportunity, we're going to have everybody enlist in the military. No, doesn't matter. Gender equality for all. And you have Zetian like, wait, I just wanted that to be a choice. I didn't want it to be a requirement. There's a lot of conflict. And I also think like that is a general conversation in politics in general, and conversation, not just in politics, just in everyday life. To have the choice and not to have that choice taken from you, and finding the balance in it all. And that's what's being navigated until revolution. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like the emperor because he immediately is like, holy shit, you're still binding feet? Why? Surgeries for everybody.
And
Fix
I had
it all.
plans in place that this shouldn't be happening. So why did you regress?
Like, why? Why are you lying to pilots? Why aren't pilots training pilots? Why aren't women, in charge? They can command their own chrysalis, and they use the female version of that countess, like all of these other names. Like, they take ownership of that. And then he's like, women are capable. They have brains. They can do labor. They should go to work like everybody else.
Why are they not reading? They are why aren't things being led by what he's so confused that there has been no progress in his 200 plus years that he's been gone. And then he's like, I like the little things where he would get like sick. I say sick. And they're like, well, you've been exposed to things. It's been 200 years. You don't have a vaccine. Gotta lock you up.
Lock you up. There's a lot going on.
He's like, there's consequences, because everything's about also consequences to actions.
Yes. This whole thing is, I think, is about consequences to action with a bit of the Truman Show happening. So, Qin Zheng is also great too, because he is also like, okay, all of these, go to work. Everybody go to work. Kill your landlords. Overthrow the rich people. Steal from the rich. Take everything. Arm yourselves. He's like, in fact, come to the square in every town. I'm going to give everybody guns and I'm going to show you how to shoot them. Like, Tichen, do you not see? Arming the populace is one thing and like a military state is the other. And there are inklings of a military state in the beginning, and then it's just like a full at the end. Because in the beginning, Zetian's like, yeah, I'm coming back to the city, like, back to, everything. And she's like, these screens used to have like advertisements and like commercials and stuff on them. And now it's just like military slogans and like the parade and the new flag and the golden dragon. Like
lots of propaganda.
Well, that's something. That's
not
something.
Reflective of anything.
But, it's also very Hunger Games. And I felt that in the way that we had to do all of the all of the media stuff, because we had to, we have to shoot the crowning, we have to shoot the coronation, we have to shoot all of these things. And
the optics of it all, because even with the coronation and her second marriage, which was already like, ooh, they reversed the path that she did the first time. She's like, well, this is symbolic and everybody's going to know, because everybody's going to like it's all about optics. And speaking of optics, it's one of the things that we talked about Iju, where he was like very much like PETA. He understands kind of the machinations and the optics in the bigger picture, that he gets to kind of take a stand away and see that Zetian did not necessarily know how to. Very much like Katniss is trying to navigate, because it's just like, this is what's in front of me.
Yeah, and Zetian even has to take control of some of the propaganda when Qin Zheng is sick. He's sick. He's coughing up blood. And she's like, okay, what's the delay on the camera? How long is it? All right, you go. You zoom in here. You do this. Hello, people. We have to move. We've got to do it. Like that stuff is, I thought, just really adds to this story, because there is a lot going on, but you kind of just like kind of roll with it, because they're like, I don't know. This is just me again. I was just so conflicted with some of these policies, because it's like, yeah, all right. She should have her own like female, like army, I guess. Like, why not? She's like the empress. He's got his own.
Yeah, you're like, am I? Yeah. Well, but then you have her sister in her dream
in her head.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah. And saying you're fighting for this one sect of women,
the smallest
one. And it's also, you have to give allowance, and that there's so many different choices. You're talking about choice, but you're only talking and currently fighting for one set of choices, which also isn't very fair. And you shouldn't penalize other people for having that choice. And I think that's an interesting conversation also, just in with women in general, because I feel like that happens a lot, and you see it come in cycles, especially with politics right now. Those who choose to be mothers and those who choose to be child free, and both are valid. And child free, we feel like we have to be louder to defend ourselves. And it could come off as aggressive because nobody is hearing. Like, it's a really interesting. That was just like the first thing that came to my head. But to follow up with that, you also have another example with the optics that Zetian has to get through. And she's like, well, what if we tell them I'm pregnant? What if we say I'm pregnant? I don't want to be pregnant, because they're also like, you should be like a brood mare. You should be pregnant, barefoot in the kitchen kind of thing. And they talk about quote unquote traditional values in this book and how they want to position her. And she goes, well, what if we say it? We placate to the populace. We have actions in motion. And she also feels like, I feel so dirty that I have to I have to do this because there is a certain perception of women and the expectations that come with me that they're going to see me in a different light, even if we just say that I'm pregnant and then I happen to quote unquote miscarry.
Yeah, because he has a history of miscarriages 200 years ago with his concubines. Zetian's journey is so interesting. And she has repeatedly throughout the book these questions in her head about gender and how easy men dismiss and label gender and how complicated it actually is. Because she says what makes me a woman? Is it my breasts? Is it my womb? Is it my ability to have children? If I could carve those things out of me, I would. And then later when she says that, or when the emperor is like, yeah, Zetian, go to the war front and show that women can be pilots and have your, a male, concubine in the back, but he's got to be a eunuch. Optics, man, he's got to be a eunuch. He cannot have genitals, and that makes him less of a man. But then it's does it? Because what makes you a man? And Zetian has these thoughts, kind of repeatedly throughout the book, where with no resolution, they're just kind of just floating up here. And I just found that to be really interesting, because there's also the conversation of politics behind that with optics is that Qin Zheng, the emperor, he says I am not a laborist. Get off me with that bullshit. I'm a materialist. Let's be so fucking clear.
I love it.
He's like, don't wrap me in with that bullshit. Those idealistic assholes, do not. I think that is just so funny. But these ideas of labor, these laborist ideas, on and on and on. And this is my point. There comes a point with all of this where you're kind of bogged down in all of these politics and you're oh my God, it's called Heavenly Tyrant. Are we going to go to the Heavenly Court? That's kind of this back burning plot in the back of a lot of it. And then you get up there. I mean, spoiler, I guess we get up there and we're finally getting the information about what's going on. And it's just politics.
It's always just politics, because it even brings Zetian back to, why do I keep fucking up his name? Qin Zheng saying the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And we need to be on the same page to propel forward against them. They're currently our common enemy.
Yeah. And then, they get up in this space and they're talking, I can't remember her name.
Always about a space.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, I don't know how they ever get out of space. We're talking to the girl who's with Iju, and she's like, yeah, no, it's just we're gonna wait till the election. Just hang out to the election, and you can negotiate for better terms for your planet. A better contract with the mining company. It'll be totally fine. And Zetian and the emperor are like, are you shitting me? Are you absolutely shitting me? It's up here too. You're not gods. You're just, fuck, man. I loved that. I loved that, Truman Show aspect. I love that confrontation.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. I just think that's so great because what is happening? I think stepping back and because the characters do step back and take a big look at what is happening, and it really puts everything into perspective. So most of the book is, hashing out government and societal changes in Chaoan, the capital, to change the country so that eventually we can become stronger to, win the fight. It's all about military. It's, we have to get more pilots, happy, all of this stuff. It's the war machine. It's kind of just driving the war machine. The whole planet is like that. And they are like that because of this controlling entity in the sky that they have been led to believe are gods, and those gods can communicate with them through like vague cryptic messages, but they're always watching and listening. And it's just so interesting. Jess, how did you feel about that kind of reveal?
I felt like, I don't want to say I was shocked because I wasn't, but it just felt like a fucking course, another thing that's, it just, I don't know if I feel that way because of our current state of society, or if it's because I'm just more familiar with, like, it had to be something more. That, I think, is why I wasn't surprised. What about you? Like, I feel like you saw this coming.
So, okay. I was pretty on board with them just being like space people. I was pretty sure. Because it's kind of like Lunar Chronicles. It's kind of...
Oh, we've been wanting to visit that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like Lunar Chronicles. It's a little bit like Red Rising. Spoilers for Red Rising. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for Red Rising, then skip a little bit. All right. In Red Rising, there is a reveal like this. And the reveal is that the people on Mars are told that they are pioneers and that they are terraforming Mars for settlers. They're going to save the human race. But Mars has already been terraformed for years and years and years and years. And they are slaves under the ground, toiling, and they will never, ever, ever see the surface. And they have their own mythology and their own culture and their own caste system, all of this, and they will never see the light above them. And and the government knows, and the government controls them and keeps it like this.
Yeah. So you had recently, you read Heavenly Tyrant before Red Rising, and then you read Red Rising recently. So when you reread this, like, how did that order work? Like, because you read Heavenly Tyrant first before Red Rising. So when that was happening in Red Rising, were you already attuned to it? Or when you came to reread Heavenly Tyrant, did you see that, it was laid out there?
It's laid out there. It's like, of course. It was really interesting. And I think that kind of the point of all of this is, especially, in Red Rising, in the point of all of these kind of reveals like it, is that it is just the mundane. It is nothing supernatural. It is nothing divine.
I also feel like, again, now that you've expressed the Truman Show analogy, it feels like a letdown. Like, when you find out, it's like when in The Wizard of Oz and you pay no attention to the man behind the curtain and you're like, you're a man. That could have been me behind there. That's all this omnipotent person. It was just me.
Yeah, and it really kind of like puts Zetian and Qin Zheng really into like everything into perspective for them, because they assume that going to the gods, that's the last 15% of the book or so, they fly the yellow dragon all the way up to it's a space station, and they smack into the side of the space station, and they go in there because they have been tracking. I can't think of his name now. But the Vermilion Bird pilot, his kidney is on the planet that everybody is on. Yeah. So she has been tracking his spirit pressure through his kidney on their planet. So when Zetian is up in space, she is able to pinpoint him on the space station because she can track his spirit pressure, because they are holding bits of him hostage and they have made him into like a crazy, scary robot to attack her and to like play on her feelings, which, you know, shame on them. They don't know her if they think that was going to work. But I like that. Again, it's just people. It is just mundane people. So they get up there and they're like, not only are we part of like a mining contract and they need us to kill the win-wins so they can take the husks and they can sell them for better prices and they can do all of, like, we are their workers and we don't even know it. But also there's like so many other planets and like other people out in the universe. It's not just us. We're not just alone. That is so much to like comprehend. It's really
when you're already up there.
So again, it's also, it is just like you said, Jess, it's two things. It's like awe-inspiring and like really like focusing and like perspective aligning, because you're like, I am small into this, and also disappointing because it's just a bunch of fucking people. Man, where are the gods? Like, there are no god. Are you serious? Well, then nothing matters, you know? So it's kind of like that conversation.
Yeah. Where then that, and I think that is, I don't want to say it's defeatist, but it's like, it was all for what?
Yeah, it was all for what?
And then you're like, why am I going through all of this for it gets frustrating. And I feel like we get to that point in our society too, when you're like, you're just, what are we fighting for?
Yeah, what are we fighting for? It's just, so we've talked a lot about the military. Obviously, this is a military coup. This is politics. This is a revolution. It's a military coup. There is a bit of a love story in here, which is really interesting because our triangle, which is the strongest shape, has broken up because one of our members has died. And then Ichu has done everything in his power to save himself, save Zetian, save everything about like their little pocket, their life in a little pocket, kind of. But it doesn't end up working.
I really thought, like, I couldn't believe every time they were like, oh, well, he has a kidney. Let me go towards his kidney so I can just be a little bit closer to him without somebody else knowing. I swore at some point, I was like, this poor girl. I kept thinking, like, triangle's the strongest shape.
Well, and then, of course, Ichu, he gives her up. He says, like, I had to choose. I can either fight with you or I can work with the government to protect you. And I can work with the gods also to kind of, you know, facilitate everything that's going on, because that's what's happening. I said in the beginning that Ichu is on his own little quest. Well, he is, because as he, you know, cuts his hair and he gives up his family estate and he starts working with the emperor, and he is, you know, it's really interesting because on a reread, he's the one that tells the emperor that he's sick. He's the one that, you know, talks about the pregnancy and how we should wait. He's the one that says, you know, there's a lot of technology about all of this stuff. It's always him. Like, he is pushing all of this along. And I did find that interesting. Because he's working his little ass off because he has a secret mission from the gods, and they're like, hey, we're watching. Yeah. Like, come on.
And they're watching everything. Like, again, it's like they're the kind of the puppeteers with all of this right now.
Yeah, and it makes Ichu be a puppeteer, and he's really good at it. So he successfully, through manipulation, bribes, whatever he had to do, gets that doctor to lie to the emperor's face and be like, yo, you can't ever come out of this room, my guy. You're gonna die. you're gonna die. Like, we can't keep you safe, bubble boy. You gotta stay in there.
Were you surprised with Iju's reveals at the end, or did you see those coming the first time around? I'm sure you picked up on it.
I was surprised. Yeah. I knew he was doing something. I didn't know I am constantly, this is why I really like these two books, and I assume the series. I am constantly surprised by the characters and how far they will go. Because I love when characters do the thing. And I love when the thing happens.
And that is this whole book. Like, we said it the first time, and it happens again, where people die, people stay dead, the things happen, and there's follow through. And I love that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and there's also just like so many feminist themes that are just so great. I love Wangar and Tebu. I cannot.
Who? Maybe it's the same person. It's the person who taught Zetian how to read and write.
Yeah, Wangar's like her companion / like maid.
Maid, yeah.
Telu is Iju's sister who does the math. Like, I love them. I love their friendship. I love how they fight. I love how their storyline. They're both queer. Like, they met at the gay bar. Like, I like that storyline. I like that the Emperor's like, whatever, gang, keep those open. Like, and also, I really like the hypocrisy that Qin Zheng uses as the Emperor, because he is, and Zetian says it. She says, like, he will use tradition to his benefit, but he will also abolish it in a moment's notice, because he makes her wear the mask. He makes her like do all of the traditional empress things, but then he's also like, fuck it, I hate that, like, get rid of that, let's abolish that, like, he's, boo. It's interesting the things that he chooses to use.
I mean, if that's not reflective on anything, despite your author's note that we love for your protection.
Yeah, and something else that I really like about the Emperor, too, is that he teaches Zetian, how to be a better pilot, how to use spirit metal, how to manipulate everything. And he says, like, my teacher was a woman, and she was, like, amazing. I cannot believe that this important, like, defense structure that we have has been completely tailored to lift up men. It's just nuts. It's absolutely insane. And I cannot believe that any of that happened. So he's like, I have to reform all of that. Like, there's just so much to do.
Yeah, I feel like he's exhausted. He goes, 200 years, there has been no progress. I got to do everything myself. I'm the one. But even with Zetian, I'm thinking of, like, he's giving her lessons. And I think she's shocked by it, too, because she hasn't had that support with somebody older and kind of like this weird mentor figure that she doesn't want to have, like, not like a romantic relationship, but like really, she drags her feet that he's right about things sometimes. I mean, even with accessing her chi and knowing that there's different types of chi. And he is saying in some parts, I know that this is the chi you favor because it comes easiest to you. However, you have access to all of these types of chi. You shouldn't lean into one, because if you don't have access to one, you need to be able to access another. And it would behoove you to be the strong, like, have access to your strongest chi, so you don't go into like a physical crash out, essentially, because you've exhausted yourself. And when he's right about things, she hates it. She's like, fuck, I know he's right, and I don't want him to be, and I don't want to admit that he's right. That's where Zetian gets a lot with her frustrations with him, too.
Yeah, and that those feelings kind of morph, because they end up having like a very sexual relationship. Like, she says later in the book, she's like, and I've been in that a lot. Like, we've been
Which is so funny because she's like, I don't see him like that. We're just sharing a bed. It's not like that. I would be disgusted by him. And he's like, calm down. You're a child.
Yeah, he's like, ew. Ew. But they do. He's persistent. Like, he shows his interest, like, it takes a while, but eventually he shows his interest and he keeps showing his interest and she breaks down and then they have their relationship. And then there's a little like time marker towards the end of the book. She's like, yeah, we've been together for a year. Like, it's been a year. Like, that's a long time. Because they decide to go to the Heavenly Court. They're like, when are we going to go? And he's like, 7 months. We're going to go in 7 months from now. And that's when the book ends, when they come down from the Heavenly Court. Well, and it all comes down. So we have like a little bit of time marker, but that's a long time. And, they're sleeping together for a majority of that. So and Jess and I were talking about this before we started recording. That little bit of information makes the betrayal at the end of this book so much more delicious because you're like, well, I don't know. Did she love him? I don't know. Did he love her? Well, he says so. And he's like kind of acting like it, but I don't know.
Was it part of the motive the whole time? And even you said it's still left unresolved at the end of this book. So it makes it like, I think, but also it's kind of nice. I say this reluctantly, because of course I'm not going to apply it to every book I read, that it leaves it open-ended. Because that also doesn't happen a lot in books. Everything just gets like in a nice tidy little bow. And we don't know if we're going to get a book 3. I haven't heard the author talk about book 3. I know book 1 was a struggle for the author to get published. Book 2, it took a while. And we were, by the time we had finished book 1, we knew book 2 was coming. We just didn't know when. Then there were a lot of politics and, at play through the publishing and the awards space for this author's writing. So I'd be okay if it just stopped with 2. I like the uncertainty that not everything has to be perfect.
So how does this book end? Well, there is this huge battle Naturally, there's this huge battle in the Heavenly Court. We smash in, we fight with everybody. We fight the robot version of our former lover, and set us free, make me whole. All of the psychological damage. She ends that. Zetian does the damn thing. We meet up with Iju, who is in this absolute gorgeous outfit with the eye makeup and the hair. He's been cross-dressing this whole book, and we love that for him. Just killing it. Eat. But he is our ally. He tells us about the mining contracts. He tells us about how he fled up to the Heavenly Court, and he's been up there for a while. A good while. He's been up there, trying to make connections, trying to see what's going on, trying to help them. And he has recruited an ally. And that ally, again, just like we said earlier, tells us about the two political factions who are holding an election. And then, when this new one wins the election, the Emperor and Zetian can petition for a better contract for their planet. And both of them are looking at each other like, are you shitting me? That is not what this is. What? No. So, of course, the only option then is to burn it to the ground.
Which, I love that's what happened in the first book, too. And she does it. And yep. She does it.
She does it. The space station, they take the space station down. It has been evacuated, but those evacuation pods are not built for interstellar travel, so they have nowhere to go but down. So all of the space people are going to come to Earth, and it's going to be this huge fiasco. And it is going to take 6 months for any sort of retaliation to come from the space station crashing down to the Earth, because that's how long it takes for the space travel to get there. But in the meantime, Zetian has stabbed Qin Zheng straight through the fucking heart. She has just murdered him because he's like, yeah, like we're gonna do this. Like it's gonna be you and me. And she's like, you know what? Nah, man. No.
And that's something that I do give Zetian a lot of credit. She'll never pick a man over a mission.
Yeah, and she makes the decision, and he is shocked. He is completely shocked. He is just like completely taken aback, and then he's pissed. He is so mad, and it's essentially this like anger. Now he's full of vengeance. Now he's angry and full of vengeance. He is not thinking straight. It's his pure will that's keeping his heart beating. That's keeping like the ship, he's like after them.
That is very much like you. I feel like if somebody pissed you off so much, you're like, I'm alive so I can make sure I could spite the fuck out of you.
Just to like spite you, like Zetian and every, they're in the ocean. It's like, oh my gosh, and like here he comes. It's this whole thing, right? Like,
I know we know that the rights have been optioned for these two books, at least the very first one, and I know I'm on record saying, and I still believe this, that not every book needs to be made into a screen adaptation. But when I tell you I would be at an IMAX theater on opening weekend for this, because it has to be IMAX. Like you can't, this is not like an Amazon Prime. Let me watch it on my laptop situation. I need surround sound. Hell, give me that 4DX experience where you get motion sickness because they put you in, you would be in the mech suit. How fun would that be?
It would be amazing. And what a fantastic story to have that experience with. And I do feel like it would be marketable. I feel like it would hit with, all of the kids, with parents too, because it's new, it's fun, it's interesting. There's a lot to it. There's layers.
And I mean, like, and it's not just on screen, right? Like this is marketable for kids in a toy capacity. Like you can get consumer marketing on this to create the capitalist products that we always love to push out that can be tied with something. So I can see it in this is me with my marketing and publicity background. And I know you have it too, Laura, that like you can like to visualize the entire thing is really exciting.
Especially too, like the irony with it, like marketing, like we can make all of the toys. The whole thing is about like laborism and consumerism.
Games, gaming. Can you imagine making it into a video game to like continue the multimedia levels of this franchise and IP?
Delicious.
Xiran, hire us.
Yeah, and then and just like the social irony of all of it too, like
yes, absolutely, like that would be really funny, like funny, not funny, haha,
funny, haha, but funny, ha. Yeah.
Like, how about that? Not as if we didn't just have an entire 2 books of message to the exact thing that we're talking about.
Well, he's a materialist, so.
Well, yeah, you know.
So funny. So funny. I also, 7 months to save the world. I just love it. That's the end of the book. I just love it so much. And of course, this is really politic heavy. Of course, you can't read this first. You have to read the first one before you read this. I don't know what the reception of this book was because I didn't read anything about it because I knew that I loved the first book and I'm not going to let anybody's opinion taint.
I don't remember seeing people talk about it. Again, I don't know if that was just like my socials, but to your point, I wasn't going out and looking for commentary either. I didn't want to. The only person I wanted to talk to about this was you because I know you would love it.
Yeah, and it's unique, it's special, it's sci-fi, it's diverse, it's lovely, and it is such a good message. It if you have media literacy. And it is a really fun read. I did this through audio. The narrator's awesome. I believe it's the same narrator as narrator. Before. Yeah. Excellent. Would only recommend. And I just have to say that my favorite kind of like storyline through all of this, I said it before, was just Zetian being like, I want my own female army. I want that. I want my own female pilots that are super loyal to me, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just loved that. I love it. Take your power, bitch. Get it.
Yeah, and she's never made any apologies for it, nor should she. Mm-hmm. You know, if anything, she was just like more frustrated when she had to, you know, do the politics that are involved with being a woman. And you know, like that gutted her. And she's like, this goes against everything that I stand for. But I do know I'm trying to make some sort of movement with the wider populace. Because again, we've had her say, it would be so nice to be liked for the same thing that men are liked for. But if I say it, I'm a bitch. And that happens a lot. Still, and a lot of us feel that way too. I have a conversation with one of my guy friends. I go, I've said the same thing, and we've had like a live time, our own, you know, when we work together, our own experiment. I go, watch, he had never seen it until I showed him. I was like, now you say it. I go, they're gonna love you. I'm the bitch. They've gone to people and reported me for saying the same things that he said, and it was because I was a woman. He's like, and now I bring it up regularly to remind him, to be like, hey, this is the same world that we still live in.
Preach it louder. And you know what? This book is all about change and revolution, and we can't hate on that.
Never. With that being said, please feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.